Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. This is your host, Josh Peak. And we have some friends that are chiming in today. We have Josh Treadaway. Say hi, Josh.
What's up, guys?
It happens to be his birthday today. Happy birthday, big guy. Whoop, whoop. We've also got Josh West, who's going to chime in here in a minute, and Greg, who has sent us a message saying that he's hanging a shower door, which we have established that it's probably a cry for help because we've never actually seen him hold a tool in his hand, let alone do any kind of handyman work. So maybe it's his way of signaling us going, send help, I'm in trouble. So I'm not really sure how, what the scenario is there, but we're going to keep an eye on that just in case we need to alert the authorities. But anyway, so the big birthday today, what you got planned? Anything special?
No, not much, man. Just going to clean up the house a little bit and take the day off because it's raining right now, but I'm hoping it clears up. I'm going to turn on the smoker and I'm going to make a smoked mac and cheese.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I bought some regular shredded cheddar, some sharp cheddar, some blue cheese, and some goat cheese.
Ooh.
And then I bought a couple things of the little packets of like the Velveeta cheese.
Yeah. And
I'm going to take all that and put it in with some heavy cream and a little bit of chicken stock. And put that in the smoker and let the neck smoke, and then pour the noodles over the top and bake it.
Oh, okay. I've also heard about putting like Philadelphia cream cheese, but you don't have to use the brand. You can use regular.
Right. Yeah.
But that adds a little bit of creaminess to it, a little bit of twang. But it kind of, I don't know. It's like it has a weird reaction to other cheeses and just kind of gives it a full on creaminess to the other cheeses.
Well, it allows all the other cheeses to blend in really nicely. I bought a bottle of white wine, so I'm going to kind of almost like fondue it.
Ooh, yummy. I downloaded TikTok the other day just to kind of see what TikTok's all about because I keep hearing people talk about it's going to be banned, and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell it is. So I figured I'll download it and just look and see. And somehow I got on this weird TikTok thing of watching people smoking a bunch of pellets on a wood board, and then they take a glass and they cover it and they capture the smoke. Then they pour a whiskey in there and they seal it up into this like a jar almost, and I guess it adds a smoky flavor. And they mix it all up, and I was like, I'm watching magic. This is that's really cool.
When we went to Rodney's wedding, when my buddy Micah came to visit me while we were all kind of napping between the rehearsal and the wedding, we went down to Blue Smoke down below the hotel, and their actual house bourbon was a smoked Maker's 46.
Huh.
And it was really amazing. Actually, what I did with it, I tried it, but I didn't want to get wasted too early. That happened later. But sorry, King. But
I think everybody got a little wasted.
Do what?
Yeah.
Everybody got a little wasted.
Yeah, I know. I got a head start. But so I had the bartender make it into a mule, and he was like, I'm not responsible if you don't like it. I'm like, trust me, it'll be okay. And so he made it into a mule, and I was like, man, this is freaking great. I told him, I was like, look, I know you're not allowed to drink. You got to take a little straw sample of this. He took a taste, and he's like, you don't live right here, do you? I'm like, no, I'm in town just for a wedding. He's like, I'm stealing this. This is my idea. I'm like, you go for it.
Wow. So that was a fun time. That was fun finding you in the room asleep. It was fun. It was fun watching Josh West have a dance off with everyone in the room. It was fun listening to Hindu music mixed with Jay-Z. I thought that was really fascinating. I was like, this is a baller way to listen to this. This is great.
Well, it was fun that I was pre-gaming before the wedding, while you guys were working the wedding, and we shut down one room and went to another, and yeah. It
was a fun night. It really was. So what did you get up to?
But then, of course, there was your favorite moment of the whole day, Josh, when Rodney's dad was helping him with his tie. And Rodney was helping his tie, and you made that whole, coming about, that was just like a moment in time, like it needed to be frozen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you'll appreciate it, but I appreciated it for what it was. I mean, you have kids and you want to see them grow up. And then, let's face it, Rodney had his son kind of late in life. And, here he was, his dad's watching his son get married, but he doesn't have the ability to tie a bow tie. And Rodney knows how to tie a bow tie. So much that he could just, here, Dad, I'll take care of it. And I thought it was a great photo. And I mean,
no, I completely agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, I knew you made a very big point about that. Was a very poignant moment in that day. And I agree that once I saw it for what it was, I was like, wow, it really was.
Yeah.
My favorite moment was Rodney on the horse.
Well, He doesn't like that, by the way.
I love it. I thought it was great.
I mean, you know, we've nicknamed him King forever, and then you see him up on the horse. I'm sitting there going, "There's our king."
There he is.
Well, the coolest part was when he came down the steps of the hotel and he had on the Matrix like glasses, and he had on the beautiful robe thing, and someone was like, "Dude, you look like Neo from the Matrix," and he goes, he did the whole float backwards thing. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I was like, he's been practicing this. He saw himself in the mirror and went, yeah, it does kind of look like that.
I'm pretty sure he's walked down those stairs before knowing exactly what he was going to do.
Yeah. That was a fun day. I like the little highlights whenever Facebook reminds you, like, you know, so many years ago you did this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, how cool is that? But, yeah, that was a fun time. So, Mr. West, thank you for joining the podcast. We just kind of kicked it off because we didn't know how walkabout you were going to be. Didn't know if you had to, like, release the Kraken or something like that. But so we were talking about Greg doing handiwork, allegedly. Not really sure what's going on there, if that's a cry for help or if he's trying to alert authorities that he's in distress. But we'll monitor the progress, and if he alerts us to any more handiwork that he's doing, we'll call the cops. So what are you up to up there?
Well, the reason why I was late and wasn't sure of how walkabout it's going to be, we are prepping to go camping for the week. Well, we are parking our camper down at a campground for a week and just camping all week. I'll work during the day, come visit her at night. Took off Tuesday because it's her birthday, and that means happy birthday, JT.
Thank you very much.
So it's another day, another dollar.
Yeah.
He didn't look a day over 70. I mean,
No.
He's really keeping it together.
His bald head that gives it away, though, is the problem.
I think the bald part is the beautiful part. He's streamlined for her pleasure.
JT, the night we did that, man, you haven't been the same. I mean, man, you rock it. I mean, I can't
ownership
do it.
of it.
And I mean that serious. It looks good on you.
Yeah.
Good.
I was very, very scared it wasn't, but once it happened, I was extremely.
We were all. I mean, when all the wives are like, "Oh my God, look at this!" Even I'm like, "Hey, maybe I should go." No, I can't do it.
Well, you couldn't until you have to, and then you go, all right, I guess this is it.
I always said, I don't care what color it turns as long as I have it. I said, I don't, I still have hair, so I'll just let it grow until it stops growing. It is what it is.
I got in the middle of watching this thing. I don't know if you guys heard about it. David Blaine was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he ate a frog, and then he's spit it back up, and it's alive.
Do what?
Yeah, he's doing these magic type trick things on the show, and on one of the things he has Joe Rogan use an ice pick and push it through his bicep, and it goes out the other side, and then like he's done a couple of magic tricks during the show, but one of the things was he's drinking a whole bunch of water, and he talks about how he does the trick of drinking enough water in his stomach to be an aquarium basically, and he has to also drink eat baking soda to calm the acidity level of his stomach. And then he swallows a frog whole alive, and now he's upchucking bunches and bunches of water, and the frog's going to come out of this in the process. And I'm watching this happen, and I'm like, holy crap. Oh, there's the frog. Ah! It's so crazy. That's so he spits it out in Joe's hands, and it's alive. Holy crap, that's so disgusting.
I'll pass.
I mean, putting the frog in your mouth to start off with has got to be bad enough.
Well, I saw things about it before I watched it. People were, posting, "Oh my God, have you seen David Blaine on Joe?" And I was like, "What?" And they were talking about stuff that he did, and I was like, "All right, I'll get around to watching it." And I didn't because there was other stuff I wanted to watch, but I started watching it this morning, and I was like, I can't turn it off. I got to find out about the frog.
So does he do an interview with him and drink water the whole time, and then 2 hours later?
No. Like they're he preps for it. I mean, they talk about a lot of stuff. But then he goes through this process and he drinks the his big table is just full of bottles of water, and David just keeps guzzling water. He's like, I have to drink at least 8 of these so that I can prep for this.
Oh, okay.
Then once he does it, then he swallows the frog, and I was like, what? and then they're talking. They keep talking. They're doing a podcast or whatever, and he's like, I feel like I'm ready to get rid of the frog now. He's like, I'm feeling all that water come back up, and he's like, okay, what do you need? He's like, a bucket. So they have a bucket. And he just starts spitting up water, and all of a sudden he goes, and he has the frog, and I was like, holy crap, that's so. He talks about some of his tricks that he's done. I mean, the one where he was encapsulated in ice, and he hallucinated during the process. Because of the ice being so cold, he went blind. So he was hallucinating a lot of things. And he was like, I had no concept of time, which is the hardest part because I didn't know when the trick was going to be over. I didn't know how much more I had to endure. He goes, that was the really rough part. But he's talking about all kind of crazy stunts that he's done in the past and things that he did to kind of get ready. And people were like, that's not you. You didn't really do that. He goes, no, really. He's like, this is what we did. But yeah, craziness. Anyway, I just had to watch that because I was like, I got to see the frog come out. I got this far. So, anywho, I kind of need like a refresher. I feel all hot all of a sudden.
Take a sip.
Water.
Got you covered.
It's flavored water. Yeah.
It's better than water. It's magic water. So anyway, I wish Greg was on here. I want to talk about what we're going to do for a trip. I mean, we've talked about coming up and visiting Mr. West up there in the Salisbury, Maryland area. So I'd like to do that, and I don't know what's available as far as time. And, we've had a situation at work recently where we had a few people get COVID, so they're out of work, and I'm having to do a little bit extra to kind of cover that. So time frame wise, I know we want to go when it's at least warm enough that we can do the whole, water ski thing up to the dock and go bar hopping, but also COVID hit. So that's probably not even an option right now.
That there's multi-layers that I'll take the biggest layer is, so said camper that's getting parked this week that we're camping on this week, we have acquired a place at a campground for the month of October. So it's available for any date in October. Now I know Greg has some issues with the beginning of October because I wedding anniversary, is that right?
Yeah.
He goes to the beach with Lane and
they have in the past, but I don't know if they're going to do it this year. I know they had to cancel it last year because of the hurricane. Remember that hurricane that hit Pensacola?
Yeah.
Right?
So I don't know, but so that being said, is that so the camper is available, sleeps 2, 4, 6, so we should be fine in the camper. The jet skis are another issue. Let's just say they're both not running right now, so I'm getting them looked at this week. So hopefully that might change by here and there. But worst case scenario is we have a home base right near the beach. I mean, the campground that we have as a private beach area that we can go to, but we're also, 10 minutes from Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah.
And there's all the things that are with that. Now, that being said, it is COVID. While we could probably go and do just about everything you want to do at said beach, it's what kind of risks we want to put ourselves in. So, but there's all sorts of bars and nice, fun places to go to. There's breweries, distilleries. We can find things to do.
Yeah. And
still have a good time, like we always do. That being said, we can always hang out at the camper. We get drink, play cards. I've got cornhole. We can be self-contained in the campground and eat like kings, at the campground too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm down for all of that. I mean, any and all above. I mean, it's just try to shake it up a little bit, do something different. I mean, we've come down here a good bit, I guess, because it's geographically convenient for everybody to kind of meet in the middle. But yeah, I want to take a trip up there and kind of see the area and, we have, like I said, I've got the Durango, we can go
as well. So, I mean, it's not like we have to sit at the campground. My Durango will take all of us anywhere we want to go, including if we wanted to go off-road. We have a portion of the beach that we can actually drive out on the beach and spend. If we wanted to spend an afternoon on the beach, we can do that as well. Yeah.
But I do want to do it before it gets too cold, because there is a point where you go, this is a mistake,
Yeah, it's. I don't know what the summer
Right.
Indian summer forecast, how long it's supposed to be hot for this year. And you know that just because they forecast it doesn't mean it's going to happen either. But even if it's not blistering hot, it's still, even in October, still should be comfortable, and we can still go and do things.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, we could do nothing and still find a way to have a good time. I mean,
yes,
it is one of those things, Greg talked about it on his podcast, the 5 and 40 podcast. He talked about, the two of you having a long conversation and how, a lot of us can go a long time and just miss each other because we're so busy. And then all of a sudden we pick back up where we never left off. Cause I don't know what it is about us, but we've had that kind of relationship for years. And it is very unusual. Like the older I get, the more I talk to people, and I realize that this weird friendship that we have is very unusual because a lot of people don't have it. And I have no idea why. I mean, maybe we drank some magic water long ago. I don't know. I don't know the tie-in, but it's good and it's great, and I feel blessed for it. I tell people all the time, like, you meet people in life and you make friends, and sometimes you have friends that you don't know why they're there, but they're there, and they become a part of you. And oh, look, Greg's logging in. Hey, now we're getting the big fat boy. Hey, fat boy.
Melon.
Fat boy.
Where you at, fat boy?
He's muted himself.
Oh no! Touch the button, the shiny red button.
Touch the button. Touch it. Touch it.
Hey,
Touch
Mr.
it.
Fix-It. How you doing, Mr. Fix-It?
What's up, gentlemen? How's
So
it going?
listen,
Well,
we're all concerned about you because you texted that you're fixing a shower door or hanging a shower door, and I thought, I've never seen Greg with a tool in his hand. Maybe this is a cry for help. Maybe he's having a home invasion right now, and this is his alert the authorities. I'm in trouble.
well, it's funny you should say that. Like, there was a time. Now, I want you to know that times are different now than they used to be. And yes, I have actually installed light switches and actually done a few things. But I remember very clearly a time shortly after that Lane and I got married and we bought this house, and she came over, and I was doing dishes after supper, and she was taking pictures. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, you don't do dishes, I'm taking pictures. So, I mean, things are a little bit different. So yes, I can hang shower doors, and I can put in a light switch and blah, blah, blah. So I will tell you, Peak, you've inspired me because one of the headlights is out on my car. And I told Lane the other day, I said, I'm sure there's a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to attempt to change out my own headlight. We'll see how that goes.
Fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
So, yeah, what's up? What you guys been? Oh, man.
Are
We were
you
just talking about the trip, trying to see if we could get a little bit more kind of a, idea of when might be best time and things like that. Wes was explaining that we got the campground for the whole month of October for the trailer, or the camper, excuse me.
and it's on
Right.
it's on the water. It's near the water. Is that?
So yeah, there's several campgrounds down in this area that they're right near beach access. So yeah, I don't know if our spot is on the water, but the campground itself is situated near the edge.
Is it
of the
kind of
water.
like the state park was here in Myrtle Beach when you guys
Yes,
came?
very, very much so. Very much so, JT. Yeah, it's exactly like that.
So yeah,
Is
so like
that-
a 5-minute walk and you're on the beach.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah, and it may be closer, just being where you're at in the
But
camp.
depends on what lots you're on.
Exactly.
Is that sort of your wife's way of saying, I don't want you in my house with your stupid friends?
No,
Hey,
but she is on the same deal. She wants to know when, because when we're not there, she's going to be there. So
Oh.
My
That makes sense.
laptop speakers have been goofing up the last few times we did this, and they're doing it again. So I got to go get some headphones. I'll be right back.
Okay. And there he goes.
walk down the street.
What does your shirt say? Sprinkles are for winners. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Is that a cupcake?
That's what they say. I haven't seen the sprinkles yet, so.
Oh, damn it. Does Angie have sprinkles?
Occasionally. And then I got the appropriate cup, so.
Hey.
Good cup.
So I did a little project yesterday. We're having spray foam insulation put in the attic to change the temperature of the house. Basically, we're going to turn our house into a Yeti cooler. It's a little expensive, but I think it's going to greatly affect how efficient the air conditioner works.
In the long run, you'll make the money back from the money
Yeah.
you save from the heat and the air conditioning running so much.
Right, and it will help the unit not work as hard to keep the house cool. But part of the process is we have a section in the living room that's a cathedral ceiling. Well, in the attic, it's sort of a built-in kind of thing where you can see the peak of the cathedral part, and there's a section between the roof line and over by the fireplace where it kind of comes up into a point. And the guy came out and did the inspection and stuff, and he was like, I'll be honest, he goes, that's going to be really hard to get to physically, and in order to get it like you want it, I don't think we're going to be able to do that part. And he goes, but here's what we can do. He goes, now this will require a little bit of work. He goes, I need you to kind of close that in if you can. He goes, it doesn't have to be with anything super tight. It doesn't have to be perfect. I can spray as long as it has enough, section where I can spray and something makes contact. I can kind of build off of it and fill it in, and I can fill in around that area and then do the rest of the attic with no problem. He's like, but that part is going to be a problem. So he's like, you can use cardboard. You can, take some of this insulation here and toss it up in there. And I was like, okay. And immediately my brain goes into hyper mode of what needs to be done. So I made a YouTube video about it, doing the whole process, but I encapsulated that yesterday. And of course, whatever temperature it is outside, it's always hotter in the attic because heat radiates inside of there with no airflow. So that was fun. And then in the middle of it, I get a phone call from my mom. Apparently they had a bad storm that made a tree fall over her fence, and my stepdad's been having a lot of heart issues. And she calls me. She's like, hey, can you come over and help Dan? He's gonna work himself to death, but he needs some help. And Michael's at work. And I was like, sure. Michael's his son. And I was like, sure. Yeah. I as soon as I get out of this, I'm in the middle of this right now, but as soon as I get done, I'll come over. So I went over and helped her and him. And, it was kind of fun. I got to actually truck with my truck. I actually put a tie strap.
I saw you had a whole bed full of wood chopped up.
I tied a tie strap around this root ball and I drug it around the yard. I mean, it yanked out of the ground, and I was like, yeah, driving it away. And then we went back and he continued to cut up the tree, and he couldn't lift anything because of his condition, but he operated the chainsaw, and I picked up the trees and put it all in the back of the truck, and we took it, to his neighbor has a burn pile out in the open field, and we took it over there and dumped it out. But, I slept really good last night.
Were they able to save the fence? They had to buy a new piece of fence.
So they're going to go through their insurance company, for storm damage kind of thing to have the fence repaired. But he had a section of some linked fence for a gate. He had a couple of times they've built these cages for the dogs whenever they have litters of puppies, because they have a problem with birds taking puppies off. These large, owls and hawks and stuff like that will swoop down, take a puppy, and fly away.
I've heard of it. I've never actually known anybody that had that. I mean,
it happens all the time
in movies and things like that. But
so they have these cages that are built, and he had like a section of cage set aside, and he's like, I'll just wire this up on this side of the fence with some coat hangers, and it'll at least be there. He goes, but the tree was down for a day without me knowing about it, and the dogs didn't leave the fence. He goes, but I do have to worry about coyotes and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, a fence doesn't stop a coyote because they can jump this easily, but whatever makes you feel better, man. But I tried to ease his worry a little bit, and I told him, I was like, dogs are pretty territorial, and if they sit here for a full day and did nothing outside of this fence, they're probably not going to leave the fence. They kind of know this is home base. He's like, yeah, I know. I still want to wire this up. And I was like, okay. So anyway, got that done yesterday. But I tell you what, I slept really good afterwards. I mean, holy cow. I was able to go over to a friend's house and jump in their pool and cool off. And then when we got home, maybe an hour later, I took a shower and I was like, I'm going to take a nap. And I slept for 2 hours like a zombie. I mean, it's one of those deals where you lay down, when you wake up, you haven't moved and your arms are asleep. You're like, oh, I got to get my arm off me. Get off me. You have to reanimate. But yeah, I mean, it's so unusual to do this kind of stuff now, but it's one of those things where you do one thing and then it builds confidence to do the next thing. Like Greg, hang a shower today. So, next thing you know, he's going to be doing work on his car, and he'll be like, hey, pass me that wrench. And you're like, what? Who are you?
What's a wrench?
Hey, I did want to say to you, I really enjoyed your last episode of 5 and 40. That was really good. I mean, I know you went an hour 12, but listen, I'm all about don't stick to the parameters of the guidelines. Do whatever you want. I mean, the fact that you did that made it more fun to listen to because you were like, I know what I want to talk about, and let's just do it. And it came across. I mean, it was good.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was a different episode. It was later at night than I usually do them. I talked about you guys in it some, and I liked it.
Mainly West, because he doesn't
well.
listen to any of them, so you just mainly talked about him, I remember.
Yeah, I keep hearing about this. I'm going to have to.
No, you won't.
No, you won't.
Has nothing to do with your made-up sport of pickleball.
Even if it was a whole podcast about pickleball, he still wouldn't listen.
No.
Listen, I have exceptionally bad news. Last night, we played pickleball. The game that will not be named. Yeah, I know.
Allegedly.
The game that will not be named.
Now, see, if we go up there, what would be funny is if we actually play pickleball together as a group, then I can actually concede that it is a real thing.
That it is a real game.
It's not made up. Yeah. I'm sure Wes has more than one paddle. And he's like, all right, you guys, now he's going to tell us, it's not like that.
67.
You guys don't understand.
Yeah.
You can't play doubles. It's not, whatever.
But you can play doubles, play singles, and I may have an extra paddle or 20.
Yeah.
Or 20.
Listen,
Did Golden Paddles ever reach out to you?
No, I could have. I have trouble. I'm not a big salesman. I was doing it to just help the local people.
I tried to send them your way because they sent me a thing wanting to know if I wanted sponsorship, and I was like,
I know.
the wrong guy, dude.
It's weird about sponsorships. You have to be at a certain level before they're really interested. And to be fair, I'm just there's the level of minimum level of sponsorship, and I'm really right here. Unless you have like a shtick, if you're like a character, somebody who's popular, somebody who everybody knows, then you might get a type of sponsorship. But they're looking for the elite players type deal. I'm not that. I have a good time. And it is what it is.
Let's see. Pete just thought it'd be a perfect time for you to start your podcast because then you get sponsored for your podcast talking about pickleball.
It's going to be a long, long meeting, isn't it?
Listen.
Podcast.
Hey,
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't picked up mine yet.
I only started doing it because of the abuse. That was it. That was the only reason. I was like,
listen,
damn.
if bullying you guys makes you do it, then I'll keep doing it.
So, I know Pete knows really a lot about this. I'm not sure if you other guys know the details as much, but I did that one podcast and then I took it down, and
right.
I was really, really having some trouble for a period of time. Like I wasn't going to do it anymore. But I had like 5 people come up to me, and most of them were at work, but like one random dude that I knew that I didn't have any idea listened to the podcast, just saying, hey, when's the next podcast? We like it. We're listening. And so that was kind of the reason why I decided, because I was trying to decide if I wanted to quit it or if I wanted to go back. But when I had people tell me that they were listening and interested and enjoying it, I figured, hey, why not do it, right? So that was pretty good. But yeah,
on your app, can you see your numbers as far as listens?
I think so. My listens went down, unfortunately, like when I didn't do one for so long.
No, I mean total plays. Like, does it show you total plays?
I don't know. It's a good question.
If you click on your podcast on episodes, it'll say it in the top middle. It'll say total plays, and it'll say established audience. It'll kind of give you an idea of what it's doing.
Your podcast. It says total plays 0. Estimated audience 0.
Okay, that's the app's trying to catch up.
It's not working.
Yeah,
okay,
it does that once in a while.
It's
guess
the
I can
app
quit
trying
then.
to catch up, Greg.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
once in a while it updates and it shows you numbers, and you're like, what?
Hey, how come now it says like total plays -4?
No. You owe us.
That's right. People hate your podcast so much that they anti-listen to it. I don't know how you do that.
That's so weird.
Now, I heard you had a few hits listening to the last one that we did when we were at your house. Was there any particular part of that podcast that people were saying, or is it just in general?
No, people just really enjoyed it. I guess because of the flow of the conversation. I mean, with Danny and you and And Danny's been on the podcast before, I think twice. He was on when Ian and Mike were on, and then I think he came in once with Kelvin. But he was really timid about talking. And when you came on, I don't know why, he was just in the mood to talk. And I mean, everything flowed real easily. So.
Yeah, Wes, I think you would have enjoyed talking with him, Wes. He's kind of a dirt racer.
Oh, okay.
Back in Ohio.
Yeah, he's from Chautauquan, Ohio. What is it called? Chautauquan, something like that.
Okay.
They're outside of Cleveland. Anyway, he drove these big trucks that would, dirt track jump over stuff, and he had this really cool truck called Bad Habit. Whole racing setup. I mean, it's just incredible. He's always been a gearhead.
My guess would be it's like a trophy truck.
Yeah.
And then so they're set up for the suspension drop to be able to take those type of jumps and stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting. So.
Yeah, he was really into that kind of stuff, and it was one of those things where his wife worked for a paper mill, and she got a large promotion that actually required them to move down here. And they talked about it and weighed the pros and cons and decided it was the right move. But to do it, he had to sell his truck and get out of racing. And it was one of those things where he'd been doing it, for most of his life. And then suddenly he's not. And he's like, oh, crap, what am I going to do? So, we kind of talked about that a little bit. And, there is that weird transitionary period of you get so into it and you get so used to the competition, and then suddenly you're not doing it. It's like, what am I going to do to fill my time? I mean, I still have this urge to want to do this kind of stuff, but there's not really anything like that around here. I mean, he has a giant 4x4 Jeep, but he's like, there's no really to ride off road around here. I mean, I can go mudding, but I don't really want to do mudding. He goes, I like climbing stuff. That's really fun for me. So I think he's trying, finally getting into the Jeep community around here, and he's finding some areas where he can go, off-road Jeeping and stuff like that.
That's what I would say. Find the local clubs, and even if the club doesn't do it, there's always one or two people who's going to know somewhere in some place to go. Yeah, down there it was. Remember being, when I lived down there was a lot of the four-wheeling off-roading mud. It was always going to the mud bogs and that kind of stuff, and finding mud pits on somebody's property and that kind of deal. We have something up here in Maryland that's a big, huge motocross off-road type of facility that
they have one right outside of Society Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Society Hill has one of those. They do actually a really big motocross kind of thing, but it's big enough that they could drive probably some Jeeps and stuff across it.
Yeah. And I've been to this place up in the upstate near Kershaw that it's called like Carolina Outdoor Adventure or something like that. And they own like so many hundreds of acres on top of this mountain, and they have like off-roading paths only for dirt bikes. They have some for only four-wheelers, and they have some for like off-road vehicles, but they're all different levels of difficult levels, I guess. And they tell you have to take a GPS tracker with you, because if you get lost, you got to contact the office and have them come help you. And, everybody's got winches and everybody's got a way to get you out, but it's like, it's a total adventure park. I mean, they have zip lines everywhere if you want to do that kind of thing. They have, campgrounds up there. They have cabins for rent. If you don't have a dirt bike or a four-wheeler and you want to rent one, they have those for rent as well, which is kind of cool. I mean, and we deliver food up there as a coincidence, but that's the only reason I know it's there. But I looked at it, and from Florence to there is like, I don't know, 2.5 hours or something like that. And I was like, geez, that's kind of an investment in time to go up here. You can't just squirrel up here for the day, have fun, and come back home. You kind of need to spend the night if you're going to do this kind of thing, especially if you get stuck. I mean, you got to plan ahead. So, but, it is one of those things where I could tell that, he's itching to do the next thing, whatever it is. I mean, he's wanting to get involved somehow in some kind of motor racing or some kind of off-roading or something like that. But
I listened to that episode and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was I thought it was really good. It was all the conversation with
me
the
too.
guys.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
So you heard about my impromptu visit to Albany that didn't work out?
Yes, I did hear about that. Yeah, I did hear about that. I was, you said in the thing something about me being a planner and about how, you wouldn't like just spring that on me. But I was sitting there going, yeah, you guys should have called me. I mean,
Well, I wasn't in the spirits to have a spur of the moment. I think I worked close to 60 hours in 4 days, and I was on a 16-hour day when he texted me, and he's like, "Hey, we need to do this tomorrow," and I was like thinking, "Fuck you."
Oh, I could hear it in his voice as well. I didn't know he worked 16 hours, but I could hear it in his voice. He was like, "No, that ain't gonna happen."
Yeah.
But then he made a valid point about it.
How long were you there, Treadaway? Did you stay the weekend?
I just stayed. I came in on Saturday afternoon and stayed the night, and got up and pretty much left about Sunday afternoon about 2.
He was gonna come Friday, but then Friday turned into a disastrous long day. I was only supposed to be like a half day, and he was gonna come up Friday and then stay the weekend. But I think I texted him around 2:00, and I went, "Okay, change of plans. I now have to work forever, so let's just plan tomorrow."
Something like Clerks. No, I'm not even supposed to be here.
Well,
he was in the office thinking it was just going to be an office day for a couple hours and he'd be done. And so I was like, "Yeah, I'll come, a little bit later this evening."
We had a guy that was on a route at the beach.
2:30. He's like, "Not going to happen."
Yeah, we had a guy get heat exhaustion, and he called in, and he was getting sick, and so I had to go save him. And when I got to him, it was a really bad day, and it took the rest of daylight to get him done and back and
caught up.
Yeah, so what was going to be a 8-hour day turned into a 16, 17-hour day. I mean, it was one of those kind of setups.
Did you say that you were grilling ribs that day? Is that what you did?
On Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, how were they?
They were fantastic.
They were awesome.
Yeah. What do you think, Treadaway?
You didn't see the bone plate?
No, I don't look at bone plates.
I put the bone plate online, man. You didn't check it out.
As soon as I saw the caption "bone plate," I was like, "Nah."
If it comes from me, you want to take a look. Like, hey.
I'm like, I'm good. Thanks.
No, I don't think Greg has Instagram. I think I put it on Instagram.
It was on Facebook.
Was it?
Yeah, it was on Facebook as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do anything special.
Do you dry rub them, or do you
dry rub
sauce on them, or what? No sauce?
No. I literally showed Treadaway. I turned the grill on, let it heat up, and then I took the ribs out of the thing, and I cut them like between every fourth knuckle. You know, you have the tiny bones and then the bigger bones. Mm-hmm. So they're baby back ribs. I start on the bigger end, and I count every fourth knuckle, and I use some meat shears, and I cut through it. That way I'm separated into like servings, I guess you'd call it.
Sure.
And then I'll spread them out on the grill. I put some olive oil on top of it, and then I sprinkle some dry rub on top of it, and I just let them cook. I don't do nothing else. I go out there with a probe and temp it, and when it gets, I like to let it get hotter than most people do, because I like the breakdown of the cartilage, and it just makes the bones fall out a little bit easier. So I usually cook it to about 190, 195, somewhere in that range. And I think the day I did them, I got it to like 190, and then I turned the grill off and just let them sit there for a while, because we were waiting on some people to show up. And I thought, it's not going to hurt them to sit there. So then we pulled them off. Like, everything that I'd sprinkled on top of it had caramelized really good, and it was delicious. I mean,
nice.
I didn't hear anybody complaining. Everybody was like,
there was very little talking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was going to be like, that was weird, because the day kind of morphed. It was just going to be, us here and then Treadaway. And then my wife goes, "Hey, what if I invite Cheryl? What if I invite Dan and Lori?" And I was like, "Hey, I only bought like the packet of ribs that comes in the thing." And she goes, "I'll get some more." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "But I only got so much grill space. I mean, geez, but
it worked out perfect. It was the exact amount of grill space.
Yeah, we even had some left over. I mean, it was kind of cool.
Treadaway.
The meat covered everything.
Yeah, Treadaway's your job is to make sure there's no leftovers. What a failure.
Well, that's what I told. That's what she was saying. She's like, "There's gonna be so much leftovers." I was like, "No, I'm here."
Yeah, I was gonna say Treadaway's here. Like,
there was enough for me to eat leftover the next day, but then it was all gone. I mean, it ended up being the perfect amount. But also, people made stuff and brought stuff extra, so there was plenty of food. So
cool.
It was good.
Sounds like fun. I'm glad you guys got together, and sad I missed it.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Steele, you have a show coming up, don't you?
Well, yeah, we're supposed to have one.
Is it still on for now, or?
We're supposed to have one coming up next Saturday, but we're sort of in discussions about it. Sort of still COVID concerns and stuff like that. So we're supposed to have one next Saturday, and as of this moment, it's still on, but I'm not 100% sure.
I've got one on.
That's one of them that's at the lake, right?
No, this one's actually at a small brewery here in town, and the good part about it is they have an outside, and
Oh,
because
okay.
we're not trying to play anywhere inside at all, um, but but I still don't know if it's going to go down or not. It's been kind of tough. We had 8 shows booked before COVID, and then of course all those got canceled, and we played 1 show, but really, and so I've been practicing too much. Everything's kind of just been on hold. It hadn't been great, but it's been all right. I mean, the break hadn't been terrible, right? It's pretty time consuming, as
Yeah.
Wes can tell you, right?
Oh yeah, I said if you've got one next Saturday, I've got one on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got our second gig booked for Sunday, and then the first gig we played a couple weeks ago, they want us to come back, so they're all outdoors. So it's been good that I have to have the same explicit COVID concerns.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even as much like so we're playing at the local Elks.
Mm.
They have a pavilion, so we can set up underneath the pavilion. And then they're telling everybody to bring your own chair. So they're just setting up out in the parking lot, and
Yeah, they can distance.
they can social distance.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
We got invited to play back at some of the clubs we used to play, but some of them are like, I'm on this little stage at one corner, and the whole place is full of people, and they're like right up on me, and it's a low ceiling. I mean, you can't do
You're
that.
like, no, thank you.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking like what I need in the newspaper is like infectious disease specialist causes COVID outbreak. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't have that.
There's a picture of you. You're like,
yeah, I'm with my COVID T-shirt with a little cross through it, but yeah. So
they'll use an old photo of you when you were in a club and you're wearing like, I don't know, a Halloween costume or something. And like, this guy's the one that did it. And you're dressed up like the lead singer of I don't know, Dawkins. Yeah. I was trying to think of.
But literally, I was going, and there's another nurse in the band too, and he's just like, dude, I don't want COVID. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. But I just couldn't be like, I'm the only infectious disease provider in this town. I can't like cause a COVID outbreak. Like that just really hurt.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good for your job.
No, that wouldn't be good at all. Yeah. I mean, sure, I'd get business for the hospital, but that can't do that.
Conspiracy theory. Dun dun dun.
Mm-hmm.
So have you still? I know you popped it. How was that honey bourbon?
So it's good. So basically, where we are is 4 weeks bourbon in the barrel, 4 weeks honey in the barrel, and now we're back to the 3rd week of the bourbon being back in. And so we've been tasting it. I didn't taste it yesterday. I need to taste it today. But I'm doing it every week because in a small barrel it can get too overpowered if you don't watch it. But it's really good. It has a really nice flavor, and then on the back end there's a nice sweet honey flavor. It turned out. I was worried it wasn't going to be good at all, but it's pretty good. I'm just trying to get it where I want it.
So if you get it there, are you going to bottle it?
So I bought, so it's 2 liters, right? So it's not a bunch. I bought some 200 milliliter bottles, so I should be able to make 10 of them.
Okay. Makes like a little flask, basically.
Yeah, I didn't make 50 gallons or whatever, but
with like screw tops or with like corks or what?
Screw tops, yeah.
Okay.
Like you can buy, they're called Boston Rounds. You can buy them on Amazon and stuff. They have all different sizes of these glass. It's just a glass bottle. But the other thing is I bought little 2-ounce honey bears, right? Because I'm trying to get bourbon infused honey. And so I tasted the honey when I took it out, and there was a little bit of bourbon flavor, but not as much as I want. So when I get the whiskey out, I'm going to put the honey back in, and I'm going to leave it in there until I get the flavor on that where I want it.
How are you getting the bourbon into your honey? Is it just literally liquid bourbon? Is that what you're doing, Greg?
Well, so basically what it is the barrel absorbs the liquid. And
right.
So I got the bourbon in there, and I put it in for 4 weeks at the beginning, and it absorbed a bunch. And then I put the honey in, and it got some of that. And then I took out almost all the honey. You can't get all of it out of there, but you try to get all of it out that you can. And then you put the bourbon back in, and then it infuses the bourbon. And now I have the bourbon back in again, and I'll put the honey back in. And again, it's just, I'm not putting any bourbon in the honey. I'm just getting the bourbon flavor out of the barrel into the honey.
Okay.
But the honey takes longer, of course, because it's so thick. You have to shake it every day. Like I shake the bourbon too, but it's almost like, it's like with the liquid, you know, it's the contact of the liquid to the walls of the barrel, right? So with liquid,
Right.
that's pretty easy to mix it up, but with the honey, it's so thick, it's really hard to get it, you know.
You almost
Well,
have to like
and the
rotate
barrel's
it.
porous.
It's almost like you have to rotate it every like 2 or 3 days to get it
Yeah.
fairly.
I shake mine every day. I just shake it up.
You shake it, okay?
Yeah.
So Greg, I'm just asking,
Yeah.
can you get like bourbon chips and float the bourbon chips in there to create more surface area to transfer more of the bourbon flavor into the honey possibly?
So that's an interesting concept, and they actually do make these. So a couple things that go along with that. They make these wooden sticks that you can buy, and you put them in a bottle of bourbon, leave them in there, and it's supposed to age it more and give it more flavor or whatever.
Yes, that's where I was I knew that from watching many shows on this. I didn't know if the same concept might transfer over to your honey.
Yeah, it could. Another thing too is Maker's Mark is a company that does finished bourbons, and you can do so. Basically, if your bourbon group wants to get a barrel of Maker's Mark, then they'll finish it, and then they'll allow you to put up to 12 different combinations of wood staves in it that are different woods inside the barrel, and then they age it longer. And so that's another thing that's sort of along the lines of what you're saying. So the answer is yes. Now, what I'll tell you though is that the reason you got to be so careful with a 2-liter barrel, if you're doing, normally they're in like 55-gallon barrels, right?
Mhm.
So the amount of alcohol that's actually contacting the wood at any one time is very low. That's why you can leave it in there for like 7 years and 15 years and whatever, right? But the smaller barrel, a lot more of that is contacting the barrel at any one time. And so it's actually not that you need more in there as much as it is that there's a concern it's too much and that it gets oaky too fast. And so that's why I have to taste it every week, because I have to make sure that I don't let it get too harsh, because that's the risk. And it can get harsh in a very, like they say, if you put it in a barrel like that for 4 months and you try to taste it, it's going to be awful. Or 6 months or whatever, just because of that contact is so much.
Okay.
And so, but that is, that is a pretty cool idea as far as being able to, but basically the definition of whiskey or bourbon specifically, I'm sorry, is that it has to be in a charred oak barrel. And then you can finish it with additional stuff, but it can only be in a charred oak barrel to start until it gets where it is. And then you can finish it. And technically what I'm doing is finishing. I'm not making my own. I have this thing is called White Dog, which is like just the clear stuff. Whoa, sorry, Lane's obviously blending something. I guess we're blending.
Invasion.
Somebody's making margaritas.
Yes, that's I think chicken marinade, but margaritas is cool. Whatever.
So I was
sorry,
gonna
I
ask
know
you,
people are going to listen to this and go, "What the hell is that?"
Suck that, people.
I've been talking about aliens this whole time. You guys didn't hear me.
Yeah. So anyway, just to wrap this up, because I know you guys don't want to talk about this forever, but you technically can get your own barrel and put this, they call it White Dog, in there and try to make your own. But they say when the barrels are that small, you can never make it good before it gets too oaky.
Well, I got a question. So
yeah.
when you're doing that and you said you want to get it at just the right level, I mean, if you're tasting it and you're going a little while longer, I mean, at a certain point you go, oh crap, too far. I mean, do you just go, all right, I need to pull it now before I risk it?
I think probably the average person like me would do that. But I think Greg, because he's had such a run with really good bourbons, he'll know kind of right before it gets to it.
Yeah, and we had like the first week we tried it. My dad was here, and some other people tried it, and then Lane's trying it, and we had poker night last Saturday, and some of the poker guys tried it. So we're getting
what does that say?
Other people.
Not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Yeah. And so some of the guys from the poker group and some of the other people that tasted it are not bourbon drinkers. And so if they had been like, ooh, that's harsh, then I would have been like, okay, well, we're probably near. But everyone didn't say that, right? So that kind of helped me to know. I'm assuming that I'll just pull it when I feel like it, and I won't let it I'll pull it earlier rather than later, right? I'm not going to let it get overdone after whatever 3 months of work. Work is a dumb word. It's just been sitting in a barrel, but still,
Well, no, but I mean, I'm like it's like the subtle differences when we had those 3 different Wellers. I mean, there's subtle differences, and so I know I'm saying you'll know because of your flavor palette right before it actually hits that point where it's almost too smooth.
Well, this is very different, and I actually think that pretty much all of you would like it. And I say that just because of the fact that, yeah, I think so. I mean, even though it has a little bit of bourbon flavor on the front end, by the time you're swallowing it, it has a really, really sweet honey finish.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So anyway, hopefully we'll have a get together, and if so, I'll bring one of the bottles, and we'll have some. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what are your plans for October? Because we were talking about the fact that Wes was saying that he's got that place rented for the month of October.
So we go to the beach for our anniversary every year, and so our beach trip is, and it's a 7-day thing, and it's the first part of the month. And so I certainly could participate, but I just can't participate like the first. I'm guessing it's probably around the 6th or something that we're going to that, and be done by like the 13th. And so that's my only conflict. I mean, I've had that booked, for a while, so it just have to be later in the month, unfortunately.
Unless this giant hurricane that's going to blend together causes the Gulf to be,
Well, and last time we had
It's not a giant earth. It's not a giant hurricane.
They're going to mesh together and make this.
No.
I know.
It's a murder hornet hurricane. It's full of murder
hornets. It's a
hornets.
Sharknado hurricane.
One of them's already hit. It hit at like 11 o'clock today, and the other one's not going to hit till Wednesday. And they're because of the way they're spinning, they're gonna diffuse each other.
No, they'll actually rotate around each other. I think it's called like Fujiwama. It's a So, yeah.
Yeah, but
I saw a picture of right off of the coast of New Orleans. They had a water spout thing. It was like 7 water spouts right at the same time.
Yeah.
It was pretty. It was cool, but it was a little freaky. If I saw that, I'd have been a little freaked out.
I mean, the last time we had a hurricane that canceled our vacation, the hurricane came to my house. Let's not do that again. You know what I mean? That was exceptionally bad.
Although it did result in an add-on to your house, which was exceptionally good.
It did do that. It did. I mean, the final result is excellent, right? But one of the things that's interesting. So you guys know that my mom's boyfriend Frank put an addition on the back of the house. Not an addition. It's like a covered patio, but he brought all the wood down. That wood, because it's fresh cut wood, is dripping sap now. It's dripping it like regularly. Really? Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we go out on the ground, on the rug, on the chairs, on everything. And so I was looking up there, and there were literally sap hanging down like this much. So I took a ladder up there yesterday, and I went up there thinking that must be wet and dripping, and all of that was dry. But there were places where the wood had been marred or something a little bit, and like that whole area was sprinkled with little sap droplets. And it's in a whole bunch of different places. So it's kind of interesting. It's dripping sap. Whatever. We don't care.
I've got on that back porch, I've got a section that's still sapping from that deck is almost 2 years old. But I've got one strip that's sapping still, and I don't know why it's still coming out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, Pete, what was the picture that Greg's mom sent you while I was there?
She built a table, a cedar table, and it's the sister piece to the one that my podcast table is made out of. It's the exact same cut. It's like the opposite side of it. It's beautiful. I don't know if you've seen it.
Have you seen it, Greg?
No, not yet.
Yeah, she said.
Oh, he's frozen.
Frozen.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
With his eyes closed. That's
yeah.
You want to build a snowman? So stupid.
Have to be a snowman?
I should be beaten for that. It's almost
Close
like
your eyes, open your mouth.
Oh, he's back. Are you back?
I'm back.
All right, good.
Pete's out. I was froze up. Now he's froze up.
I'm not frozen.
He's not frozen.
I'm trying to get the picture to load. Come on.
But Pete, you have another nice treat coming, because I talked to my mother yesterday, and they're currently building a island for their kitchen out of cedar with like black walnut legs and stuff.
So here's a picture of the table. and you can see that top piece is got the same sister piece as the other. But then, like, it's incredible. I mean, your mom's really building some incredible pieces of furniture.
She is. She's gotten hardcore into it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, yeah. But yesterday, they were talking about this island that they're building, and it has like pull-out cutting boards and all this kind of stuff. It's going to be pretty sweet.
Cool.
So they were working on that. So their house is definitely full of wood. I mean, just ridiculous.
What's that like?
That's my mom, dude.
No, I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
My garage is full of wood. I have a bunch of wood out back. I think I carted. Well, Jared helped me. We carted, 50 pieces of wood into the attic yesterday, trying to make some parts to step on and whatnot. And
I also don't open your posts that are like talking about a bunch of wood. I just leave those too.
You don't like those?
I don't want to see that.
Okay. All right.
I don't know with you. I don't know what we're gonna get. I can't risk it.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
I just can't
Sorry.
risk it.
I have a very warped sense of humor.
Yeah, I have to be careful when I open up my messenger if I'm at work.
Sorry.
Oh.
I don't know if it's a drinking day or not.
So West and I did talk the other day about you sending us that Two Bears One Cave invite on our Facebook thing, and the way that it's changed our entire Facebook feed. I'm like, how come all this filthy stuff is showing up continuously all of a sudden? Like, I was like, what happened?
Oh yeah,
like a time bomb.
It's funny.
Yeah. I have never been sent anything that altered my entire Facebook feed like that. And now I open it up, and like 3 times in a row there'll be a post, and it's just all this terrible. I'm just like, whoa! And then
it all makes me laugh. I thought, why not share this with the guys? I mean, you've been to a few shows. Why not?
Yeah. I said that because of Treadaway saying now I can't open my Facebook in public anywhere anymore because of that. Because I'm like, I can't be at work and have people like, what is he working at?
I think you got unplugged.
Hey Lane, just check my Facebook. It's up. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, super good.
Hey, did you get your headphones unplugged or something? Your voice is really low all of a sudden, Greg.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Is that better?
No.
I think it's fine.
You can hear
voice, on my level, the volume went down on him a little bit.
Yeah. He's in the middle of talking about it, and all of a sudden it just went from. I was like, what happened?
I think it's a stupid laptop. I don't know. Is it better?
There you go.
Better?
There you go.
I'm telling you, it comes and goes. It does what it wants.
Hey, there it's back.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just dumb laptop. The speakers are having trouble. Maybe the sound card a whole is having problems. I'll throw it against the wall and probably fix it. What do you think? Kick it? Something?
Well, I mean,
with a hammer.
You apparently have tools. Why not get it?
Listen, it's really funny you say that because when we first bought the house, like my mother brought me all kinds of tools, and I was like, "What do you think I'm going to do with those?" but then eventually, I have actually used each and every tool that she brought. So it only took 14 years, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start fixing anything until I owned a home, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I need to learn how to fix stuff because hiring somebody is really expensive.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, I don't want to pay like someone to do everything. So, yeah, I got to do something. Yeah.
Flash forward to 10 years from now, he's making his own furniture in the backyard.
Man, I'm telling you, those pieces of furniture, I can't even imagine what they could sell for. Like my mother's stuff and your stuff that you're doing. I mean, that stuff is crazy.
No, the stuff she does is way better than what I'm doing.
You sold a piece, didn't you, Pete?
I sold 2 chairs, yeah. And I've had some
probably a
requests
lot
to build
less than you
tables.
could have got for them.
Yeah, but it was a friend, and but I've had requests for tables and chairs and stuff like that, and I just don't have time. I mean, I'll be honest. It's also one of those things where it's one of those things I enjoy doing, but if I had to do it, I would hate it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right.
I
don't know why my mom got into it so much. I mean, she's doing stuff like, they're driving down the road and there's some old chair on the side of the road that's wood or something, and she's picking them up and she's redoing them, and she really is. Yeah, she's really doing a great job.
Well, it's interesting because she basically recreated herself at a certain point. She's like, I want to do this. And it all taps into some kind of creativity, but it's also, precise in a lot of ways because what she's doing is functional in a lot of ways. I mean, that main dining table that she has in the house, that farm table, is incredible, but it's also an engineering feat because it is huge and it has to hold its own weight up, and it has to be precise, otherwise things fall off of it or it's going to look really weird. It looks great. It looks like a professional built it in a big time shop and all that. And she's like, no, I just did it myself. And you're like,
I know.
very, very unassuming, very, you'd be like, no way.
Wasn't she out of town when you were there, Treadaway? I think they might have been out of town. I was just going to ask if you got to go over to the house. It's. I mean, looking at that house is something. Like, it's amazing.
Well, I'm guessing they were in town because that's when she sent the picture.
That's
was
what I said,
whenever.
yeah.
So I think they were in town.
One time when I come back in town, you need to come in so we can go see the house because it's nuts. I mean, it's bonkers. That's the stuff. Like the stuff they brought down here to put on my patio, like the wood pillars in their house are like 4 times as big as that. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I definitely want to check it out. I saw skeletons of it when it was almost done, but I haven't seen anything now. And I know Pete's mentioned it a few times.
yeah, when you go out there and you see that just the 2 of them in a tractor did it, you're just like, I mean,
That's what I want. That's what I mean. It's amazing.
it's bonkers. It's bonkers. So anyway, so West. So I guess back to the vacation thing. I guess is just about can we do it? Can we do it later in the month? I mean, I don't. That
It's
doable?
set up for the month. And Jiz already told me to get with you guys to get the dates.
I mean, can you do a back-to-back trip, Greg?
That's kind of what I was getting ready to ask him.
No, I mean I can. I mean, not that it would. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it doesn't have to be a full week. It could be a 4-day weekend or something like that. I mean, I know Treadaway don't have a lot of days that he's got available yet. I mean, just starting a new job and all that. But
Right. I mean, I have picked up 25 hours of PTO already. So, I mean, I get my 2 days off. So, I mean, I can just take 2 days, personal days, and then have my 2 days with it. So I could probably pull a 4-day, but that's probably about the best I could do.
yeah,
I think I talked to Pete, but what I probably would do is I would drive up to Pete's house the day before,
yeah,
and so that drive would be out of the way, and then
yeah, because it's 6 hours to my house, and then to Wes I think is another 6 hours from here.
That's close.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was thinking it's not more like 8, it's 6.
I thought it was 8 myself, but I don't know. It's been a while since I looked it up.
It's actually probably closer from where you live to come straight up. I mean, I'd have to Google map it.
Let's see. Just rough time from here to Florence.
I got 7 hours as of right now. 6
Okay.
hours and 59.
Let's take I-95.
I got 6:48. So
Yeah, so that's doable.
just counted as 7 hours. So
Then turn right.
turn it off. All right.
Yeah, so I mean, I certainly could do it. I mean, I'd like to see you guys. So I mean,
Yeah.
it would not that it would be like super easy, but heck, that's you do stuff that's not super easy. To what
Who
you
knows?
want to really do.
If we're that far up north, maybe the king can come down south.
Maybe.
Not that far from New York City.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like maybe
I
5
think-
maybe 5 hours.
No, it's not even that far. No.
Really?
If we tell him about it, he'll not commit to it, and then he'll show up.
Yeah,
He'll be
right.
like,
He just
"Oh
won't,
my God,
he
it's
just
the
won't tell
king."
us. He just won't tell
I
us.
don't know where he's at. The problem is New York City's so big, so I
Well,
can't.
he's actually in Jersey City now. He's
Okay.
across the bridge now in New Jersey. He's actually not in New York anymore.
I know it was unfortunate they had to move, but they really did that at the right time.
They did, really did.
No kidding.
It actually worked out better. They got a bigger place and it's less money. I mean,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
want him to
I've
come,
heard
'cause I
about
wanna-
New York being hit hard. Greg talked about it on the podcast about deaths per million, and holy cow, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about
it is really.
3 hours 45 minutes from Jersey City, so 4 hours for Rodney, ish.
yeah, he'd
Yeah.
do that. He'd do that just because he could, and then show up without letting anybody know he's
Like,
coming.
He would drive down for 4 hours, stay an hour, then drive
Yeah,
back.
that's exactly what he would do.
Yeah. He'd call us 5 minutes out. So what you guys up to?
Yeah. You want to go out
Yeah, I'm
and
like
eat?
5 minutes away. You're like,
Yeah,
what?
you want to go out to eat? Yeah. Yeah. No, like I want him to come so he'll like fall asleep on the couch again and talk to himself some more because I like that. That was great.
Oh, the funny part was that not only talking to himself, but he had that finger in his belly button. He just kept he had his shirt up like he's an old retired guy, and he just kept picking at his belly button. Like, what are you doing?
It was like watching an animal in a zoo or something. I was like, what's he gonna do now?
Should we roll him over? I don't think we should.
That's right. If he vomits, he's gonna die. We better.
Gotta keep an eye on him.
To close this all out on this subject is I just need some rough dates that work for you guys. And if you guys are coming up together, I mean that makes it easier for you guys to because I'll be available. I just need to know when so I can block it out on our end and make sure that it's all set up.
Well, I'm pretty sure that whatever date we come up with, I can do. I can make that happen. So whoever's the hardest person to, like maybe Josh, you probably have. I mean, I know you got a lot of holiday time spent.
I've got like over 80 hours saved up, and they're accumulating daily.
But I know you're having a lot of trouble getting those times because of the fact that you're having to work so much because you're kind of short staffed right now.
Well, just for the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna have because of what's going on, it'd be tough. But then
we're asking
about,
this is 2 months out, give or take.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little easy, just a little under 2 months. So it's not like asking 2 weeks out. So if you guys can figure it out the sooner, especially for Greg, because he's going to be doing a back-to-back. Treadaway, just so you get in the loop, because I'm not sure how far your lead-in times are.
I need at least 3 weeks ahead of time before I can make sure I have time off.
And then on my account, like I said, all I have to just make sure I let my employer know that I need this time off. I've got a really flexible time off. I pretty much just ask. I can just ask for it off. So
I'm looking at a calendar here now. And I mean, we're talking about a weekend, I'm assuming, right? So that we can get the weekend days in addition to the days off.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, so like I'm looking at the 24th weekend, maybe.
Okay.
There's 5 weekends in that month.
Yep. That's why I was like, I didn't know when you were going, Greg, on your thing.
I mean, the 17th might be really hard because I might just be kind of getting back. But the 24th might be okay. I mean, depending on what everybody else thinks.
All right, so
I mean, it works for me.
Just talking out live for
talking October 24th or September 24th.
October 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. Is that what we're roughly roughing in?
That's what I'm. Looks
Friday,
like
Friday to Monday.
Friday to Monday or Thursday to Sunday.
Well, I mean,
what's better for you guys?
The 23rd is a Friday. You were saying Thursday through Sunday.
Well, if it's easier for Friday through Monday for you guys, then I can make my days off pretty much anything.
It doesn't make a difference to me either what the days
I got time to burn. I can do it. So
yeah. So
I figured Thursday through Sunday we have more time to do option stuff like places we open a little bit later instead of waiting until Monday. That gives us 3 days on the weekend.
So we're basically talking about you coming here on that Friday, Treadaway?
Me?
No, Greg, you'd be here on that Thursday, the 22nd.
Well, it depends. I mean,
you would want JT up on that Thursday.
Yeah, I'd be coming. I would come. I would have my boss. I'd have my boss work me the day shift on Thursday, and then I would have everything packed, and I'd come down Thursday night, and then we would just get up first thing Friday morning or whatever and head on out.
Are you and Greg going to share the spare bedroom? Is that what's going to happen?
No. let me just say no. I don't know what the other options are, but that option is not an option.
Well, that's the whole point of not sleeping in the camper.
That's why I was saying you could come like Friday morning when you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could meet you guys Friday morning instead. I mean, that would work either way.
Right now, that room is full of stuff from the attic because I have. Well, that's another wrinkle is I got to get that attic sprayed. I called the guy and sent him the video of the thing enclosed, and he said he would schedule it. He told me when he did the review that it was going to take about 2 weeks because he had some other jobs before it. So, I'm assuming that's going to be done in the month of September. So that gives us plenty of time towards the end of October, just in case it lags on.
I mean, I don't know about
that should be
I don't
fun.
know about you, that time of the year is really not that cold anyway, in my opinion. I mean, I actually like the weather. It's nice and cool in the evening, and it's usually around like 70 or 75, 80 during the day.
So if you're snoring really bad, we can make you sleep outside the camper. Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
Hey, is it?
I'll go sleep on the beach.
What's the weather going to be like there then, West?
It still should be temperate. I mean,
October. I mean,
Yeah.
I tell you what, some October. I mean, this past October, I know we were wearing shorts because it was hot at Halloween. So there's been other Octobers where wearing pants wasn't a bad. I don't wear anything but shorts unless it's wind chill below freezing type deal. I pretty much I don't care. But the nice thing about it makes the bonfires a lot more fun if it's got a little chill on the air. We'll have a fire pit and be able to do whatever we want. So
Bourbon's better when it's colder. That's for sure.
Bourbon's definitely better when it's colder.
That's right. All right. Well, let's tentatively try to pencil in that weekend and see. What do you think?
And Greg,
Mhm.
need you to pick me up some more of that fire on the mountain, please.
I don't know where that came from. It didn't come.
Your dad.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll talk to him and see.
That's why I'm starting the conversation now. If you can find out how to get some access to it. Ange really likes that a lot. It's like her favorite cinnamon whiskey.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. I don't know where he got it, but I'll try to figure it out.
Well, I know it's his favorite, so I would like to think he would know.
if we're putting in requests, I want a bottle of that Root Down. Is that what's called?
Oh, yeah.
Root beer stuff?
The root beer whiskey.
Yeah.
I bet you could find that in Florence. I don't think that's anything special, is it?
I've been looking for it.
Find it. I'm going to look for it at Total Wine here next time I'm in Total Wine.
Yeah, we got
can't find it in Florence at all.
We got some friends that are drinkers, and I talked to them about it, and they were like, "Oh, really? I've never seen it before." So I just kind of wanted to have it to let everybody try it.
Okay. I might maybe I'll get a bottle of the peanut butter. I haven't had the peanut butter yet.
You still haven't had the peanut butter?
Screwball?
Yeah.
Oh, the screwball is fantastic.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, maybe get some of that too. Get some ice cream and stuff. Did you have to eat that with like ice cream or something?
I think we mixed ours with some raspberry Chimboard, and it kind of made a PB&J kind of flavor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Or that banana one that you had, Josh. The peanut butter banana.
The Howler Monkey. Yeah. That's a little rough.
What's that whiskey called? The root beer one? Is it Root Out?
I think so.
I got something right here. Let me see.
It's either like Root Down or Root Out or something like that.
I thought it was root down too. I don't know. I can't remember for sure either.
So all I'm finding is Root Out whiskey.
Maybe it is root out. I just remember it was root something because it was root beer. But I was skeptical of tasting it because I'm not a root beer fan, but I'm a whiskey fan, so therefore I tried it and it was really good.
I was skeptical because I'm not a whiskey fan.
I know.
I was trying to stay with my beer, which worked until we went out to drink, and then they had that 3-for-2 special on the Crown. Yeah.
And then the wheel. We wanted to make sure.
Wheel of Fortune.
We get to spin the wheel.
Yeah. I like how it spun around to some concoction, and Greg was like, "Oh, I guess I'm drinking this now." And it was just like, he took a sip and he's like, "It's really not that bad." And the lady looked at him, she goes, "Really?" Like the bartender was like, "Are you serious?" He was like,
I think at that point, we everything tasted good.
Yeah. That was
there's a place up here that has a bomb squad, and some of them are drinkable.
Is that the one that you with the Hulk Hogan and the Sting?
Yes.
And that was
Oh, yeah.
There's
those not one of those sounded good.
Oh, some of them actually are really good. Oh yeah, I mean,
Well, I'm not an energy drinker either, so therefore
that's
that
fine.
wouldn't
But there's two on there at the bottom that are bartender's choices, and historically they are never good. I mean, never good.
of course not.
They put
Bartenders don't like
they'll
people.
put the condiment stuff in it, and mustard and mayonnaise, and just no, it's tough. So, but
Yeah.
A little lighting problem there going on, Wes.
I don't know what happened.
Aliens.
There's no clouds. What is it?
Aliens.
It was the aliens, yeah.
Aliens.
Did you hear more?
They're
aliens?
watching you.
All right.
It is called Root Out.
Root Out.
Root Out.
It was.
All right. I'll take a look
but
for it. up
I
here.
still have, like, honestly, like, since I brought it, I haven't drank any more than what we had when we went. So I still have the bottle I had, so I could bring that if I need to.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
if I could find
I
a
wanted
bottle,
everybody
I
to
will.
try it because everybody's been trying different stuff and passing it around. And hey, try this.
I had some whipped vanilla or whipped cream vodka, and I was thinking, man, what if you did that with that, like a
We have
root beer
that
float?
too.
Yeah, did you have that?
We've got the whipped vodka. Yeah.
What, like a root beer float kind of deal? I don't know.
Pretty good.
Maybe.
Hmm.
A hangover would be nasty, but whatever. I mean,
That's a lot of
You can
sugar.
always do I can't remember what company makes them. There's a vanilla whiskey, and you can do the vanilla whiskey and then the root beer whiskey, and keep it full on whiskey instead of adding the vodka to it.
that's true. Yeah, it might be better. But,
I think there's a vanilla crown out there.
I
There
think
is
that's
Vanilla
right.
Crown.
Yeah.
The company I know is Philip Union used to make a black cherry and a vanilla whiskey.
Yeah.
All right.
This past summer, the wife's favorite thing was the peach crown with a little bit of sweet tea. Tasted great.
Yep.
Hey.
All right. So I've got the 23rd to the 26th as our tentative dates that we're working towards right now.
That sounds like a plan to me. Unless anybody else has any other problems, let us know.
All right. Well,
Okay.
that's what I will work on.
I'll go.
Getting things organized up here. It's got to be me coming in on the camera affecting the light, but I have to run because speaking of camping, I've got to get our camper ready. We got to take it down today, so I've got to excuse myself from you guys.
Hey, man. Good to see you, buddy.
Fat boy can take over, and yeah, there you guys will enjoy yourselves.
All right, man.
Have
a good
fun.
one.
All right.
Yep. See you,
All
buddy.
right. You guys take care.
Later,
Later,
Wes.
dude.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
That was some riveting podcast, by the way. I was just thinking about now you get to listen to us plan our vacation.
Yeah.
Yay! Woo!
Hey, I'm always surprised.
Listen, if they sat for the 5-hour podcast, they want to know what we're planning on doing.
I'm always surprised anybody listens to anything, but I'm like, I look at the numbers and I'm like, really? Wow. Okay, cool. And then I run into, like you're talking about, random people walk up to you and you're like, I enjoyed the podcast. And you're like, you listen to that? I'm always surprised.
It's like, what did you think about that paint drying episode? That was amazing, wasn't it? Wow.
I mean, I've done some rambling ones. My wife talks about, she goes, I listened to your podcast and I'm like, and she goes, you can tell you were asleep when you did it. And I was like, what? She's like, what, did you wake up at 5 a.m. and turn it on? And I went, yeah. Yes, I did. But yeah, so I don't know. It is what it is. You make content, you learn what's good, and you just keep moving. I mean, that's all you can do.
Well, and you said something too about, people make podcasts and they start out with an idea and then they sort of adjust it over time. And I mean, one thing that the break did do is I made a pretty big adjustment, and I made other adjustments in topics. But I mean, I just decided that before I had these categories, and I just decided that if I was going to come back, I was just going to scrap the categories because who cares? I mean, I can find 5 topics that. And
it could still be called 5 and 40, but you just do
it.
Whatever you want.
Just doing 5 random of whatever you choose,
No, he doesn't have to do that. I mean, Bill Burr is one of the most famous comedians in the world, and he has a podcast that he started years ago called Monday Morning Podcast. And his thing was, I go off and I perform every weekend, and then Monday morning I'm back in my house. I might as well record a podcast and talk to you guys, and maybe I'll get some traction. Well, it gained a lot of traction, but sometimes he wouldn't put it out to like Tuesday or Wednesday, and people write in, dude, you said it was Monday morning podcast. How come it came out on Wednesday? He's like, shut up. This is my podcast. I can do whatever I want. Like,
I can hear his voice saying that too.
It. Like, he's like, you want to do a podcast? Start your own podcast. Just leave me alone. But it is kind of a thing where, the name is the name and whatever, you can just go on your own. Yeah. There's some people that change directions, but the hard part with changing direction is a lot of times you lose fans because they don't know how to find you anymore. There's a guy that's he's friends with Bert Kreischer. His name's Zane Lamprey. Zane Lamprey had a show on TV years ago called 3 Sheets, where he would get really drunk in different places with different people and have just a big baller of a time. And he had a podcast called 3 Sheets. Well, the name apparently was optioned off as part of the deal he made with the television contract. And when it was over, he had to cancel the podcast and start a new one. And now he's like on the latest thing that I've heard, because he's done reoccurring things with Bert. He's had like 4 or 5 podcasts. And every time he changes, I can't find his podcast because he doesn't do a good job of promoting, hey, this is the new podcast. But it's like, I like listening to you, and it's fun to hang out, with you and your friends while you're drinking and having a good time and whatnot. But he almost makes it hard for him to find. And I'm like, this is kind of like having a favorite show that gets put in a different time slot back in the day. And you're like, I used to like watching that show. Whatever happened to it? You know? So
Yeah, I don't think no matter what happened, I'd change the name. But I think at this moment, what happened was basically that I
COVID.
just decided
He's got
that,
COVID. I just seen him cough.
right.
Yeah.
If I was anywhere near you, I'd run away, but I'm not.
Lysol.
Clean the screen. Clean the screen.
That's how you get a virus on your computer right there.
Oh, that was terrible.
I was waiting for one of you to come up with that one.
It was low-hanging fruit. I had to grab it.
So but anyway, I just figured I didn't need any categories. I still plan on doing 5 topics, but they just don't have to fit anywhere. They can be whatever I want. And then, as you saw with the last episode, the 40's a suggestion now.
Yeah,
right?
it is. It totally is. And if you start doing it on your computer with that Anchor.fm, you don't have to even pay attention to the time. You can use your mic that you've got and plug it into your board into your computer, and you can just record straight on the computer without having to use your phone.
Oh, it doesn't have the 60-minute limit?
Nope.
Yeah, that was one thing about this last podcast. When it came up to 60 minutes, they're like, "Nope, sorry, you're done." And I'm not done.
The only reason I don't do it that way was because it wasn't as reliable as GarageBand. Because sometimes I would record on the computer and I hit save file and it went, "What file?" And I went, "You son of a," I was like, where'd it go? I mean, every once in a while the app has a glitch, whereas on the computer, like GarageBand or Audible, those are pretty reliable. They never go away. Or on my phone, like if you wanted to record an audio thing on your phone, you could use like voice memos. Is just an app that records your voice. You could do voice memos, and then when you save it, there's a thing on there to share, and you can share it to the app, and then you can just load it straight to the app. You don't lose any of the content. It doesn't restrict you. If your phone rings, it doesn't lose the content. It saves it, which is kind of a workaround with that. I mean, you kind of learn little tricks along the way of what works and what doesn't work, but it's really honestly anything you want to make it. It's as complicated as you want to make it or as easy as you want to make it. So
I'm really worried about this podcast thing as far as so what happened with Treadaway? Well, as we all sing karaoke forever, he wouldn't do it. Then all of a sudden he does it. He's really good at it. And I'm worried that he's actually going to do it one day and his podcast is going to be way better than ours.
I think secretly he wants to do a Neil Diamond podcast.
Listen, I think
come
seriously,
sail away, come sail away.
I think it should be called Drunk Treadaway. And the Drunk Treadaway podcast would be pretty darn good. I think it would just
what podcast?
Drunk Treadaway.
Oh, Drunk
Treadaway. Yeah, you shouldn't record it sober. The whole thing of it would be I never record sober. And then
100%.
You know, obviously,
that was the whole point of my original plan was I was going to do sports on 420.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then there's
I was going to recap the good things that happened in sports that day or week, but I was going to be high as could be.
Well, but then there's also the risk of your job and the fact that
yes, I know, and that's the reason why I haven't.
Sort of have to distance yourself because it's still not legal in the state. It's one of those things where it's until they legalize it, it's like, all right, well, I got to skate around this issue because you guys don't really care. But whatever.
Listen, I'm going to have to go in just a minute, but before I go, I did want to talk about one more thing, if you don't mind, and that's have you guys seen these young African-American twin kids on YouTube who listen to rock music for the first time?
Yes. Listening to the Phil Collins Into the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, they have a bunch of those. The Phil Collins ones is really good, but they have some other ones. They listen to Sound of Silence is a good and they they love Linkin Park. Every one of those is good, and there's a bunch of them out there. And I very rarely will find something on YouTube that I want to watch a bunch of, but I love watching those kids. They're great. They're great.
There's one where they take young kids from I don't know, first grade or second grade, and they let them listen to AC/DC for the first time, and the majority of the kids are like, all right,
Yeah, that's the FYE website. I watch a lot of those as well.
I've seen a lot of the ones where they'll take some kids and play them Guns N' Roses, and the kids are like, it's no Post Malone or whatever. I don't know.
You lost credibility there, right there.
Yeah, right. But I mean, honestly, what I really love about those two twin kids is just that they're so genuine about it, and they don't care. They're in our neighborhood, we listen to this music and people look at me like I'm weird, but The Sound of Silence one, the kid pauses it and he really goes into this thing. Pete, you love it because he talks about like, look, you be you. Like other people
Yeah.
might look at you like whatever, but you be you. You do what makes you happy, and like it's really good.
Well,
So.
there's a book I read once called They Whisper, and it's basically about how we appreciate everybody because of their differences, not because of the things that make them alike each other.
Mm.
And it's really true. I mean, the things that separate us from each other are the things we admire about them. So if you see somebody doing their purest form of things they enjoy, then you're going to enjoy it, whether you're into that thing or not, just because you're like, oh, look at them having a good time. This is great. And that brings us full circle back around to the podcast thing. Do whatever you like, and people will either be on board or they won't, but you'll find your audience. I mean, people will either get on board or they won't. And for the most part, you're going to find a group of people that are like, this is my jam. This is for me. We went to see Joey Diaz in Atlanta, and he's been doing a podcast called The Church of What's Happening Now. And I talked about it a little bit with you guys about how he gets high on every episode, and he gets his producer high. Lee Syatz is his engineer, and he's built it into a super huge popular podcast. Well, because of COVID and because the way things are in California, he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to get away from California. I got to get away from all this craziness. I got to be able to get back to some kind of something I know and something more familiar. So he's actually canceling his podcast. He's going to completely kill it. He's like, I'm done with it. Like, this is going to be an end, and I'm not going to do it anymore. And he's like, I may start up another podcast with a different name, but I'm done with this. And he's talking about moving to North Bergen, New Jersey, back where he's from. And he's like, I may start up another one, but who knows? Like, this is just a different chapter of my life, and I'm just going to take it in a different direction. And it's kind of a big deal. I mean, because right now there's an exodus from California with a lot of the podcasters. I mean, Joe Rogan's getting ready to move to Austin, Texas. And, Bert and Tom are talking about leaving California as well. They're like, should we get out of here? I mean, because taxes are going up through the roof. Apparently in California, they're talking about raising the taxes up to 50% for a certain, range of your income.
They're talking about, I just listened to a podcast where someone was talking about this, and they're talking about having the top tax rate for the state in California being 17%. And that's on top of federal. So if you pay 33% federal, it's 50, right? Yeah. So really all these rich people, like California is the state that budgetary wise is so in such terrible shape, and their richest people are leaving because they're trying to tax them too much. They're like, I'll just go somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. Bert's he's like, why don't I, what if me and Leanne get divorced on paper, but like we're really still
I heard
together
that.
and I pay all of our bills, but I just live over here, and like, it's all fine until the kids finish school, and then she can move out with me and we'll get remarried, because that way it's all, it's like, okay, why not do it that way? I mean, but Joe, one of the reasons of him moving to Austin, Texas is they have no income tax there. So him moving there is actually going to save him several $1 million in the move.
Sure.
I think
it makes good sense.
Somebody did the math on it, and they're like, yeah, it'll save you $36 million in this transition. And he's like, done.
Done. The podcast studio probably won't even cost that much.
No, not at all.
Unfortunately, it's a pretty decent experiment in the fact that if you have a state where you really want to have a whole bunch of just sort of social programs that cost a lot of money, and the state's really in big debt, and at the same time you want to heavily tax all your rich people and they leave, what do you do? I mean,
New York is in the same position right now.
What do you do? Yeah.
And there's an exodus from New York and from California. I mean, I really think it's going to be one of those things that maybe 5 or 10 years from now, we're going to look back and go, remember when those were the places people wanted to live? Holy cow. I can't believe that they're how they are now.
I mean, think about the fact that unfortunately it would be nice if you could just say, oh, the government can pay for everything, right? But it's from taxes. I mean, rich people support poor people. It's the same in the medical profession. The insured kind of support the uninsured, right? And so if you run out all your people that have any money, I don't know how you're gonna make it. It's pretty, but it's sort of a social experiment that's going on right now. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it'll work, right? But if we look back in 10 years and see that those states where everyone exodus, just all in financial trouble, I don't know. Let's all move to Austin. You want to go?
I'm not against it.
my girl wants to move back to Texas. I told her that's the only city I'd want to live in.
Is that right? Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if we move to a drier climate, my sinuses won't be a problem anymore.
That's
a good reason.
One consideration. Yeah, but I don't know. All right, well, I do got to go, guys.
Okay.
But I
So
appreciate
on
the
those
time.
dates, like
Yeah.
if you took that Thursday and that all the way to that Tuesday off, that's only 4 days you got to take off. And that gives you time to get up here, rest. We leave on Friday, come back here on Monday, rest here, and then you can head off on Tuesday. If you wanted to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm anticipating that whatever days we go, that I'll have to have a day on each side
I can take
to-
4 days, no problem. I
to
mean,
drive back, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is, it's going to be additional for me, but that's fine. I'll work it out.
Yeah.
No big deal.
yeah, we'll talk.
Hmm?
Well, you guys just let me know if it's still the same dates. I'm going to go ahead tomorrow when I go in and go ahead and put in for the 23rd to the 26th.
Yeah, I will too.
As far as my 2 days off and then my regular days off.
I'll put in for the 4. So we'll have that set
Lane
up.
just told me she thinks I should fly.
That's not a terrible idea either. I mean,
it's cheap. It's really cheap right now.
That's right.
you'd have to be, in a bubble or some, masked up and whatnot. But I mean, that's the scary part is flying right now. You're really crammed in tight because they've canceled a lot of flights. They're making people double up and triple up their flights. And so you're not distanced from anybody on the plane, but you just have to wear a mask while you're on the plane. And you talked about how the droplets thing, it only protects you from you giving it to other people. But if everyone complies, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean the thing that they've proven is you can spread it in, and they did this thing with this restaurant where they had everyone on one side of the restaurant getting infected because the air conditioner circulation. I mean the plane is just one big research
One big
area.
giant circulation.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's a potential issue.
God forbid you open that little vent.
They probably have those all taped up.
If you drive up, that allows for a whole lot of silliness along the way.
That's kind of another thing, and not to mention not knowing where the airport is, and then having to come and get me, and all the stuff that goes along with that. But we'll see. We'll look at it.
Well, Wes can come and get you. He's a real good getter,
Or you could fly into Myrtle and I could drive you in. I mean, it might be cheaper to fly into Myrtle.
Yeah, that's a
driving to 6.
It might be doable to fly from Myrtle up.
That's a possibility as well.
I guess we haven't even talked about that.
No, we haven't really. I mean, we're just discussing dates right now, but I mean, there's other opportunities like that.
Let's look at all the different options, because you're right. That would be maybe.
I didn't think about flying out of Myrtle Beach, but yeah, Myrtle Beach does fly all over the place. And if you might get on one of those Spirit airline things, but it could get you there pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure flying into Baltimore or Ocean City, Maryland would be possible.
Yeah, and he's got the Durango, he says. So,
You can just bring the camper, and we can just get in, and he can drive it back.
I don't think you can ride in the camper when that happens, but yeah, yeah.
Oh, you can. You can do anything you want. It doesn't mean it's a good idea.
It's a terrible idea.
Well, this new camper is a driver anyway. You don't have to be pulled.
Is it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a driving camper. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but would you want to take
pick us up?
Pop up anymore. They have an.
Would you want to
actual,
drive a camper to the
RV.
airport?
Yeah, drive the airport in the RV.
No,
Wes
that's
has to deal with
awful
that.
idea.
Wes has to deal with that. We don't care.
No, that's an awful idea. You guys have ridden with him before. Do you want him driving us around in an RV through that area? No.
No, I can see bad things happening.
Not only that, but that area is really bad about low bridges, and that's another
the entire
hurdle.
trip as a whole is the same.
Yeah.
Like, we could see bad things happening. So whatever. But,
Yeah, but to minimize risk, he could just pick us up in the Durango. That'd be fine.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Enjoyed it. Hey, Treadaway, happy birthday, man.
Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate it.
What are you, 45, huh?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Just a baby. Boy, I'm
Well,
in 45s.
Well, happy birthday, my friend.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir. All right. Pete, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Later, brother.
You got it. Yes, sir.
Well, and then there were 2.
And then there were 2. And I'm actually probably going to get off here very soon as well, sir.
Yeah, I am too. I got
to run, go grab the last few things that I need to make the mac and cheese.
I'm actually going to save this and put it out Wednesday because I just put one out last night.
Yeah, of course.
And that way it's got time to breathe because I'm sure people are sick and tired of listening to me.
I told you, man, you're the Zen, man.
I guess. Yeah, as I was telling Greg to look at his numbers, I looked at mine and it says 65.5 thousand listens. And I'm like, what? Holy crap. I mean, I don't know. It just it boggles my
good
mind.
Numbers, man.
Yeah, but you know, in the beginning, I had no idea it was going to be anything close to that. So it's a surprise.
A couple years from now, you're going to be building your own studio out in Austin.
Well, it's the hedgehog effect, or I guess it's called the hedgehog effect. I read it in a book one time, Good to Great. It says, do the one thing you do well and keep at it, and your success will come. And I thought, okay, so this is putting in reps. This is like a football player whose job is to catch the ball. Just keep catching the ball, like Jerry Rice. Keep catching the ball, and eventually somebody's going to be like, that dude can catch a ball. And you're like, yeah, I catch the ball. I mean, do your thing, do it over and over again, and pretty soon it adds up, right? So
100%. I don't see any way that it's not going to happen that way for you.
So I'm just saying.
Actually, have you heard anything more about the book from the Marine?
Yeah. They probably listened to an episode and he was like, "What the hell? You want me to be on that?"
No, that wouldn't be it. He's just COVID's probably got him, not really doing much.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I don't care.
I really think that's going to be like that. That's going to be the breakthrough. We got to get, once we get you an interview like that, where you actually do the interview. And
it's not that. That's my point though. It doesn't have to be a thing. It's the culmination of things. It's like I could do one with you guys when I'm up there. I could do one with Angie. Angie's a big deal. I mean, she's an editor goddess in her realm. I mean, but why not just promote the people I like and talk to? That's what Joe does. Just promotes the people that he's friends with. Talk about it. Build it up. I mean, that's why I want you to create your own thing, damn it, so that you can you can catapult past me and be like, see you later, bitches. And I can write books about, I knew him when he was nobody, Now look at him.
I put him under my wing.
Yeah. Now look at him. He's shining like a diamond. Go, baby, go. Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel. That's how I feel like it's going to happen with you, man. I know this podcast is going to take off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already taken off. I mean, you've already got, like you said, 65,000?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, just, your voice is out there, man. And you're doing it the right way. You're doing it your way. You're having fun with it. And it's also, in a way, kind of therapeutic for you as well.
It is. It is my therapy. It is a way for me just to get some crap off my chest and kind of talk about whatever.
So while it's helping you with your therapy, like I said, I listen to you pretty much whenever you have a new episode when I'm on my way to work, because it's my zen to get me nice and happy and in that good kind of feeling before I get to work.
Yeah, yeah, and it's whatever your voice is, you just have to stick with it, because like I said, you're going to have an audience out there that goes, I like that. This is my guy. I mean, if dudes can start a cult off of talking about some craziness of aliens and whatnot, and then I can find a following being positive. I mean,
Absolutely. Positivity is needed in this world. We have too much negativity already.
So I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for being on. Love you, brother. Happy birthday. Hey, for your birthday, you want to say it?
For my birthday? Sure. Cue the cow.
Ooh, baby.
You guys to give me more likes. Give me more likes.